Do you see a place for Ronaldo in this Manchester United side?
Not at the moment, no. And sadly, Cristiano Ronaldo only has himself to blame because what we are seeing with Cristiano right now is a lot of what we saw with Lionel Messi last season at the start. There are a lot of similarities insofar as both of them are considered generational talents, one of the best of all times, if not the best. Both of them did not have a proper preseason last season because Messi was taken had taken some time off after his Copa America win, and Ronaldo at the start of the preseason he took some leave, some time off for familial reasons, which is more than understandable. But again, what we do know about Ronaldo is that he did not train with United. He remained in Portugal. He trained on his own. And the last season again, Messi did not have a proper preseason. He came back expecting to continue at Barcelona, and then things completely changed. He had to go to Paris. And for Ronaldo, this is the other way around because he throughout the preseason he was not expecting to remain at Manchester United because there is no way that he could have envisaged that no one out there would want someone of his profile, someone of his legacy. And that was a big reality check for him. So he had to come back to a Manchester United side, an environment which he thought he had left behind for good, without a proper preseason. And in doing so, he showed up all his cards, he lost all the leverage, and gave all of it to Eric Ten Hag, who from day one has been as diplomatic as a manager can be with a player that is overall quite disturbing for the dressing room dynamics, but will still come good because at the end of the day, there's still Cristiano Ronaldo we are talking about. But because he wasn't there from day one and he did not train with the team, he did not integrate himself in the system that Ten Hag was trying to go. So that made things very hard for Cristiano. Now, Ten Hag from day one he kept saying that okay, he's a very important player, he's a great player. If he stays around, we'll have him in the team. But it is hard for him to do that if the player is not showing up for whatever reason. So when Cristiano comes back and you are not a part of his system, he doesn't really need to provide an explanation to bench him. Once again, because this is Cristiano, we are here talking about it. He's having to answer in the press conferences why it's Cristiano he's not picking up because it's Cristiano. It's Cristiano Ronaldo, greatest player of all time. How could he not be picked up? Well, that's not how the team squad dynamics work. It did not work for Leo Messi last season. He struggled throughout it. The only difference last season was that when he actually had the chance throughout the middle of the season to actually have a proper training regimen and get his fitness back, he did not do that, which is something that I expect Ronaldo is not going to follow up because this isn't the first time that Ronaldo has had a struggling start to the season. This is a very worrying one, but he has had previous seasons as well in his prime years where he wouldn't start straight out the gate. He wouldn't really be very hot in red hot form, but he would gain his fitness over the season and then he'll shine when everyone watches, especially in the knockout stage of the Champions League. So in this season particularly, Ronaldo at 37, his greatest priority right now is preparing for the World Cup and make sure that he takes Portugal as far as he can, if not all the way. So to that end, I think he'll get his fitness back. I think he'll train hard. I think he will once again give Eric Ten Hag reasons to at least consider him off the bench, which is why he's still a part of the squad. But I think his priorities currently lie in the World Cup. And if he performs well at the World Cup with all the eyes on with the world's eyes on the event, I think he would very much like to move on in January because if he performs at the World Cup at the greatest stage, maybe another Champions League club will come back in January and say, okay, now half of the season is behind us. Now we have the knockout stages waiting for us, and maybe now we can have Cristiano. And maybe he would be more open to remaining on the bench and playing only in the major matches now that he has realized that clubs are not really that ready to give him a long-term contract and play him 60 games if he's fit. So I don't think immediately he helps. I think in Europa League once again he will be featuring, which is if you are Cristiano, it's very embarrassing, but it is what it is because you're now going to have to deal with the hand that you have dealt. But I think before the World Cup, I don't think that a lot can happen. I think his priority is to get his fitness back and train with the team as much as he can. And I think in the first 16 league games leading up to the World Cup, we're going to see very little of Ronaldo. And if he sticks around in the second half of the season, I have no doubt that his form will come back. And because if you are integrating Cristiano Ronaldo in the starting lineup, you are going to build the squad in such a way that will feed chances to him. So he will inevitably score goals, just like he did last season and the seasons before that. So that I think eventually his form will come good. Right now he's struggling not only with United but also with Portugal team. So his lack of fitness is really demonstrably there. So yeah, I think with some training he'll be right back in form. If not for United, then for someone else.